It's October of 2003. I'm in my senior year of high school. And my Friday nights consist of doing one of two things. Either attending, I am hanging out in the press box, helping to announce a quarter of a four-quarter football game at my alma mater, Colonel Richardson High School. Or when the Colonels are on the road, I am working as a janitor slash cart pusher slash bagger at a grocery store in nearby Easton, Maryland. But starting in October 2003 on Friday nights at 10 o'clock on the Travel Channel, which is now just TRVL, and boy, is that channel taking a turn for the worse. But I'll talk about that in another video. But on the Travel Channel in October 2003, on Friday nights at 10, there is a wonderful TV show. One of my all-time favorites, which you probably have never heard of. Now, I've done talks on game shows in the past, but so some of you might know what the show is. But it was called Get Packin'. It aired from October of 2003 until August of 2004. It had a very short run. Only aired for, it had 60 episodes, but still, cable, 60 episodes, yeah. 60 episodes, but they only aired over less than a year. So, what was this show about, and what did I like about it? Well, the concept went as follows. You had two people, two guys or two girls. Two guys would go into a girl's house, or two girls would go into a guy's house, and they would each separately get 10 minutes to go in a person's house and just snoop around. Yeah, look under the bed, look in the fridge, look in the cabinets, the cupboards, what kind of books they read, what kind of music, CDs they like. Well, CDs, that's been a long time now. What kind of clothes they wear, what food's in the fridge, turn on the TV, what's on the TV, what channels did they last watch, what's on their computer. You can really learn a lot about a person just snooping around their house. And this show, at least for this show, it was legal to do that. So then, what happened was, after the 10 minutes was up, each person had 3 hours and $1,000 to shop and make a suitcase buy a bunch of stuff for no more than $1,000 and put it in a suitcase. And then what would happen was, at the very last segment of the show, the two guys or two girls, would shop for the person that they were trying to impress to go on a date with. And the prize, the object of the game, was for the person who picks, if your suitcase gets picked, and the person, whoever likes the suit, which contestant A or contestant B's suitcase better, wins a trip to usually somewhere in the Caribbean, but it's like a weekend trip, like a 3-day, 2-night excursion. And you get to know the person, see whether or not you want to continue dating them. And there actually were some weekend trips that turned in that actually led to second dates and everything like that. But the show never really followed up on the couples. At the very end of the show, after the weekend trip, they asked each contestant whether or not you want to go on a second date. Sometimes they said yes, sometimes they said no, but after that question, the show ends. Okay, so let me kind of go back to the intangibles of this. Why I really liked this show. First thing I really liked about it was back when I was a senior in high school, my dream was to move to Florida and go to college in Florida. Now, the place that I ultimately decided to attend was the University of South Florida in Tampa. Why am I saying all this? The show was filmed in Florida. It was not filmed in Tampa, though. It was filmed in South Florida. Usually Broward or Palm Beach County, somewhere in that area. So it was nice to see a show that was actually not filmed in Southern California for a change, right? Another thing I liked about this show was the host. The host was a relatively unknown young lady by the name of Michelle Beadle, who at the time was about 27, 28 years old. And being that I was 17 at the time, she was a very attractive lady, I must say. Another thing that was great about the show was that each contestant got a coach to go along with them. And the coach's duties were, when the contestant was snooping around the house, they were communicating with them via, I think, walkie-talkie or something. They're buzzing in their ear saying, okay, tell me about, what kind of clothes is in our closet, what kind of CDs are on the rack, that sort of thing. And just sort of helping them to take some mental notes that would help them later in the shopping round. And then, of course, the coach would go along with the contestants and go on their shopping trip. Now, the shopping trips were very cool. Probably the best part of the show because, to my knowledge, the show was filmed. The show was filmed right in the middle of the day, and it was filmed. I don't think they closed. I think it was filmed right in the middle of the day. It was filmed live. Like, in other words, I don't think the Travel Channel closed the mall, and I think the Travel Channel just got permission from the mall to film there, because if you know anything about malls, and I watch a lot of dead mall videos on YouTube, most of the time either one or two things happens. You have a person who very discreetly films, or you have a person who actually gets permission from the mall to film. Now, I think for production of this, television show, you would have some pretty big fancy schmancy equipment. So I would think that the Travel Channel would have to get permission from the mall to film. But still, this was filmed. I think anybody could just be in the mall at the time of filming. So it's kind of cool just seeing them walking around the mall, and especially here now, nearly 20 years later, the malls are becoming very rapidly extinct. But back in the early 2000s, they were still, even though the internet was starting to take off, even back in the early 2000s, the malls were still fairly relevant part of society. Okay. So they would get done with the shopping trip. And now, one of the rules, the thing about it was suggested that contestants fit everything in a suitcase. Sometimes, though, the contestants brought some things back that were bigger than a suitcase. Like, they would buy a little bike or a little scooter for the contestant, but yeah. But this was a great show, and it was a concept. I mean, you had Blind Date on right around this time, but Blind Date was basically you go on a date and you know nothing about the person. the show Get Packin' was you actually, before you even went on a date with the person, you got to be in their house and look around their house and could get to know them in that way. So that was pretty cool. So this show, I'm trying to think if there was anything else I need to tell you about Get Packin'. Again, well, let's talk about the unfortunate thing about the show. It was a very short run. Travel Channel aired this show on Friday nights from October until about March. And then the show disappeared for a couple months or so, and then they had a few episodes left in the can of the 60 episode order, and then they would just kind of sprinkle them on, usually in the middle of the day when I was at work or school. And unfortunately, I saw probably half the show, half of the episodes, but not all 60. Another unfortunate thing, this show's run was so short. You know, there's no Wikipedia articles. Just you go to IMDb. You can learn more about the show there. There's also very few YouTube videos about this show. This one I'm making right now might be the only one that's actually about the show. There are probably about 2, maybe 3 episodes on YouTube, but that's about it, unfortunately. No, this show is not streaming on Discovery Plus or anywhere else, which is a shame because it is a darn good show with a unique concept, and it's so fun to watch. Again, you're snooping, you're shopping, and then you get to see a person's reaction whether or not this potential lady or guy is impressing the lady or guy, you know. So yeah, it's kind of weird it's not on Discovery Plus because, I mean, I guess it was not enough of a hit, maybe, you know, but still, Food Network can go back to like the year 2000, have every single episode of Unwrapped. Why can't, you know, they get all 60 episodes of Get Packin'? So Get Packin' is probably my number one show that I wish was, that I wish I could watch, but I can't watch anywhere, unfortunately. Probably my second show that I wish there was more episodes of is 48 Hours. You know, what I mean by 48 Hours is the old 48 Hours from like 1988 when it first debuted to about 1995. And that's when it had that really great theme music, opening, closing theme music. It was wonderful. And this is back when it was a news magazine. This was years before it was now it's 48 Hours mystery. And you just do an hour and you know, it's a crime thing. They talked about a whole host of issues. And I'm going off topic. I'm going off the rails here. But anyway, if you have an opportunity sometime, go on YouTube, check out an episode. Heck, you can probably watch all 2 or 3 in a couple hours. The episode, one more thing, the episode length varied. Sometimes they did an episode of 30 minutes. But the 30 minutes felt a little rushed. I liked it better when they did a whole hour of one, because then you got to see more snooping and more shopping, obviously. But there you go. Get Packin', one of my favorite shows of all time, and probably the most underrated, most underappreciated, probably the one that had the shortest run of any of my favorite TV shows. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.